The massive alien ship appeared over New York without warning. Its smooth, silver surface reflected the morning sun, casting strange shadows over the city below. On the ground, military commanders rushed to their stations while civilians pointed their phones at the sky, capturing humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. Inside the UN Security Council chamber, General James Walker stood rigid, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. After 40 years in the military, he had thought nothing could surprise him anymore. He was wrong. The alien delegation was about to arrive, and humanity's future hung in the balance. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Council Representatives. Their leader, Commander Vale, stood nearly 7 feet tall with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the chamber's lights. 4 other aliens flanked him, each wearing what looked like liquid metal suits that moved with their bodies. "We come to evaluate your civilization's readiness to join the galactic community," Commander Vale announced through a translator device. His voice was smooth, but held a hint of superiority that made General Walker's jaw tighten. The meeting proceeded as planned until they reached the topic of Earth's defense capabilities. Commander Vale's expression changed when General Walker displayed images of Earth's military forces. The alien's 4-fingered hand waved dismissively at the screen showing tanks, fighter jets, and missile systems. "You still use solid projectile weapons." Vale's translator conveyed his disbelief. "Propelled by chemical explosions. How? Primitive." General Walker felt his face grow warm, but he kept his voice steady. "Our weapons have proven reliable and effective for our needs." Vale turned to his assistants, making a sound that might have been laughter. "Where we come from, such weapons were abandoned centuries ago. We used focused energy beams, plasma cannons, and quantum disruption fields. Your bullets and bombs are like bringing sticks to a starship battle." The UN representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some looked embarrassed, others worried. But General Walker noticed something interesting. While Vale spoke, one of his assistants, a shorter alien with deep purple skin, was studying Earth's weapon schematics with unusual intensity. "If I may," Walker stepped forward. "Perhaps a demonstration would be more informative than pictures." Vale's large, silvery eyes blinked slowly. A demonstration. 2 hours later, they stood at a military testing range outside the city. The aliens watched from behind a protective barrier as human soldiers demonstrated various weapon systems. Traditional rifles cracked through the air. Artillery pieces boomed in the distance. A tank rumbled across the field, its tracks kicking up dust. Vale looked bored, but his purple-skinned assistant, who had introduced himself as Technical Officer Wren, kept making notes on a transparent tablet. When a sniper team demonstrated their skills, hitting targets at extreme ranges using nothing but mechanical scopes and wind calculations, Wren's eyes widened noticeably. "Interesting," Wren muttered. "No energy signature, no power source to detect. Just physics and skill." Vale overheard him. "Technician Wren, surely you're not suggesting these primitive weapons have any value against modern defenses?" "Not suggesting anything, Commander. Simply observing." As the demonstration concluded, General Walker noticed something else. While Vale and the others wore their superiority openly, Wren kept glancing at the human weapons with what looked like concern. That evening, in his office overlooking the city, Walker received a classified report. The alien ship's sensors had been actively scanning Earth's military installations throughout the day. But according to the report, they had missed nearly 30% of Earth's weapons. They simply hadn't detected them. Walker smiled as he looked out at the alien ship hovering in the distance. Maybe their primitive weapons weren't such a disadvantage after all. Sometimes, the old ways had advantages that the new technology couldn't match. As darkness fell over the city, he wondered if humanity's supposed weakness might turn out to be its greatest strength. Little did the aliens know, this was just the beginning of their education about why primitive didn't always mean inferior. 3 days after first contact, Captain Robert Cooper stood in the pouring rain at Fort Bradley, watching alien inspectors examine an old M1 tank. The aliens' environmental suits glowed softly in the dark weather, making them look like strange blue fireflies moving around the military vehicles. Technical Officer Wren led the inspection team, his purple skin barely visible through his suit's transparent helm. Unlike Commander Vale, who had returned to the mothership, Wren showed genuine interest in Earth's military equipment. He spent hours examining what his people called primitive technology. "Fascinating," Wren said, running a scanner over the tank's main gun. No power signature at all, yet capable of launching projectiles at incredible velocities. He turned to Cooper, all through controlled chemical reactions. Cooper nodded, raindrops running down his face. "Gunpowder's served us well for centuries. We've refined it, sure, but the basic principle hasn't changed much." A younger alien inspector made a dismissive gesture. "On our worlds, children play with more advanced technology." "Maybe," Cooper replied calmly, "but sometimes simple is better. No complex power systems to fail, no energy signatures to detect." He patted the tank's sturdy armor. "And it still gets the job done." Wren's attention shifted to a nearby weapons rack where several rifles lay disassembled for inspection. He picked up a scope, turning it over in his four-fingered hands. Pure optical magnification. No electronic assistance. "Some of our weapons have electronic sights," Cooper explained, "but we train with basic equipment too. Never know when you might need to fall back on the basics." The inspection continued through the day. Cooper led them through artillery positions, ammunition storage, and training grounds. At each stop, the younger aliens showed increasing boredom, but Wren's interest only grew. In the afternoon, they reached the base's shooting range. Despite the rain, several soldiers were practicing with standard rifles. The sharp crack of gunfire made some of the alien inspectors jump. "Would you like to try?" Cooper offered Wren a rifle. The alien hesitated, then carefully accepted the weapon. Cooper spent several minutes explaining the basics: stance, breathing, trigger control. The other inspectors watched with a mixture of amusement and disbelief as their superior prepared to fire an obsolete weapon. Wren's first shot missed completely. His second hit the edge of the target, but by his fifth shot, he was grouping them near the center. "Remarkable," Wren said, lowering the rifle. "The skill required. It's not just about the technology. It's about the user." Later that evening, in a secure bunker beneath the base, Cooper attended a briefing with other military leaders. Intelligence had been monitoring the aliens' communications, and something interesting had emerged. "They can't track our conventional weapons," the intelligence officer explained, pointing to data on a screen. "Their sensors are designed to detect energy weapons, power sources, and advanced technology. But mechanical weapons, they're practically invisible." A general leaned forward. "Are you saying our primitive weapons might actually be an advantage?" "More than that," Cooper spoke up, thinking of Wren's reaction at the range. They'd spent so long depending on advanced technology, they'd forgotten the basics. They don't know how to fight without their fancy systems. The room fell quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity's perceived weakness might be a hidden strength. While the aliens looked down on Earth's primitive weapons, they'd missed something crucial. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways. As Cooper left the bunker that night, he saw Wren's ship lifting off, its lights pulsing against the dark sky. He wondered what the aliens' report would say, and whether anyone in the Galactic Council would understand the true significance of what they'd seen. Sometimes, being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. The early warning systems on Mars Colony 1 lit up like a Christmas tree. 3 unknown ships had just appeared at the edge of the defensive perimeter. They weren't Galactic Council vessels. Lieutenant Mike Reynolds stood at his station in the colony's defense center, watching red dots move across the main screen. Something was wrong. The automated defense systems, recently upgraded with alien technology, weren't responding to the intruders. "They're blocking our new targeting systems," a technician called out. "The Council weapons aren't locking on." Reynolds grabbed his comm unit. "This is Lieutenant Reynolds. All personnel, battle stations. Activate Protocol Zero." Protocol Zero was considered a joke by their alien allies, a backup plan using old Earth weapons. But Reynolds hadn't forgotten the lessons from the recent inspections. Sometimes old was better than new. The pirates, as they turned out to be, didn't even bother with evasive maneuvers as they approached. Why should they? Their shields could handle any energy weapon the colony possessed, and their jammers blocked all the new targeting systems. "They're landing outside Dome 3, someone reported. Shield signatures match known pirate bands from the outer rim. Reynolds smiled grimly. "Perfect. Right where we want them." He keyed his radio. "All units, execute Protocol Zero. Weapons free." The pirates had expected an easy raid on what they thought was a poorly defended human colony. What they got instead was a harsh lesson in Earth's military history. As the first pirate ship touched down, it triggered a simple pressure plate. Old technology, no electronics, nothing to detect. The explosion that followed was chemical, not plasma-based. The pirate ship's shields, calibrated for energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. Direct hit. Someone cheered. Their shields didn't stop it. The second ship tried to take off again, but flew straight into a barrage of conventional artillery fire. Simple steel shells, propelled by gunpowder, tore through their supposedly impenetrable defenses. Reynolds watched from the command center as years of military tradition proved their worth. The pirates had no defense against weapons they couldn't detect, couldn't jam, and hadn't expected to face. The third ship managed to land its troops. The pirates emerged in advanced combat suits, ready for energy weapons and modern warfare. Instead, they found themselves facing Marines armed with traditional rifles and combat tactics refined over centuries of Earth warfare. Through his binoculars, Reynolds watched a pirate take aim at a Marine squad with an energy weapon. Before he could fire, a sniper's bullet, simple lead and copper, propelled by old-fashioned gunpowder, found its mark. The pirate's shield flickered uselessly as the bullet passed straight through. "Sir," his radio crackled, "you need to see this. We're getting readings from the pirate ship's computers." In the captured data, Reynolds found something interesting. The pirates' tactical systems were programmed to detect and counter energy weapons, shield frequencies, and power signatures. But they had nothing, absolutely nothing, in their databases about projectile weapons or chemical explosives. The battle ended quickly. By the time Galactic Council ships arrived to help, the pirates were already in custody. Reynolds met with the Council commander, an older alien who stared in disbelief at the wreckage of the pirate ships. "How?" the commander asked. "Their shields were rated to stop our best weapons." Reynolds picked up a spent shell casing from the ground. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Your people forgot about simple physics. Mass times velocity equals force. No fancy energy fields required." As news of the battle spread, Reynolds knew things would change. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's primitive weapons weren't primitive at all. They were just different. And sometimes, different was exactly what you needed to win. Word of the Mars colony attack spread fast across the galaxy. The pirate fleet's leader, angry about losing 3 ships, gathered his remaining forces for revenge. This time, they wouldn't underestimate Earth's weapons. Captain Jack Wilson stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Thunder, watching his radar screen. The pirates had just appeared near Jupiter's orbit, 15 ships strong. Unlike last time, they weren't being careless. "They're moving in a defensive formation," his tactical officer reported. "Energy shields at maximum. They've modified them somehow." Wilson nodded. "They've learned from Mars. But so have we." He opened a channel to all Earth forces in the area. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Delta. Remember your training." The Earth fleet looked strange to alien eyes. Alongside new ships with Council technology, they flew older vessels retrofitted with a mix of old and new weapons. Some alien observers had laughed at this approach. They weren't laughing now. The pirate fleet struck first, energy beams lighting up space. Their modified shields deflected both Earth's energy weapons and traditional projectiles. Their leader's voice came over the common channel, full of mockery. "Did you think we wouldn't adapt? Your primitive weapons are useless now." Wilson smiled. "That's what you think. All ships, launch Operation Trojan." What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for years to come. The Earth ships launched what looked like normal missiles. The pirates' shields easily stopped them, just as expected. But these weren't normal missiles. When they hit the shields, the missiles broke apart. Inside each one were hundreds of small metal balls, simple steel marbles, no electronics, no explosives. The pirates' shields, busy stopping the missiles' outer casings, didn't register these tiny objects as threats. The cloud of metal spheres, still moving at missile speed, passed right through the energy shields. In space, with no air resistance, they kept going. Thousands of impacts rattled the pirate ships, punching holes in hulls and smashing sensitive equipment. "How?" The pirate leader's voice was panicked now. "Our shields were perfect." "Perfect against weapons," Wilson replied. "But these aren't weapons. They're just metal balls moving very, very fast." Basic physics. The pirates tried to regroup, but Earth's fleet wasn't done. The next wave carried something even simpler: clouds of sand, accelerated to incredible speeds by electromagnetic launchers. No electronics, no explosives, just tiny bits of silicon moving at orbital velocities. Space itself seemed to sparkle as the sand clouds swept through the pirate formation. Their advanced shields did nothing to stop the microscopic impacts that chipped away at sensor arrays and weapon ports. "This is impossible," one pirate ship broadcast. "You're using rocks. Just rocks." "Sometimes," Wilson answered, "the simplest solution is the best solution." The battle turned into a rout. Pirates discovered that their advanced targeting systems couldn't lock onto Earth ships covered in simple mirror coating. Their energy weapons, designed to penetrate shields, struggled against old-fashioned thick steel armor. In less than an hour, it was over. The pirate fleet was in ruins, their mighty shields useless against the most basic weapons of all, simple objects moving at high speed. In his after-action report, Wilson wrote one sentence that would become famous: "The most advanced technology in the universe can be defeated by the simple laws of physics that even our ancestors understood." As news of the victory spread, other alien races began looking at Earth's military in a new light. Perhaps these humans weren't as primitive as they had thought. Perhaps they had remembered something that the rest of the galaxy had forgotten. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways. The pirates learned this lesson the hard way. The rest of the galaxy was about to learn it too. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with excited conversation. On the massive display screen, footage from the Jupiter battle played on repeat. Alien representatives from 100 worlds watched in fascination as simple metal balls and sand clouds tore through the most advanced shields in known space. Commander Vale stood at the speaker's podium, looking very different from the arrogant official who had first visited Earth. His blue skin had a slightly paler shade now, and his voice carried a note of respect that hadn't been there before. "I admit, I was wrong about humanity's military capabilities," he announced to the chamber. "What we saw as primitive was actually innovative. While we advanced our technology, they perfected the basics." Technical Officer Wren, now promoted to Defense Advisor, stepped forward with his data tablet. "The humans have shown us a critical flaw in our approach to warfare. We became so focused on advancing our weapons that we forgot about simple physics." The chamber's main doors opened, and General Walker from Earth entered, accompanied by Captain Wilson. The alien representatives fell silent, studying the humans with new interest. "General Walker," the council leader spoke, his crystalline form shimmering, "your people have given us much to think about. Many worlds are requesting Earth's assistance in developing what they call hybrid warfare strategies." Walker nodded respectfully. We're willing to share our knowledge. But first, you need to understand our philosophy. It's not about choosing between old and new technology. It's about using everything available. Across the galaxy, things were already changing. At a military base on the alien world of Proxima I, human instructors taught alien soldiers how to shoot simple rifles. In orbit around Mars, engineers combined Earth's primitive projectile weapons with alien energy technology, creating ships that could fight in ways no one had imagined before. But not everyone was happy about these changes. In a dark corner of the galaxy, aboard a massive warship, the military leaders of the Dominion watched the same battle footage with growing anger. The Dominion had always believed that technological superiority guaranteed victory. Humans were proving that belief wrong. "These humans are dangerous," the Dominion war leader growled, his red scales bristling. "They think differently. They find weaknesses we didn't know existed. They must be dealt with." Back in the council chamber, Walker was explaining Earth's military history to the fascinated aliens. "For thousands of years, we fought each other. We learned that victory doesn't always go to the side with the best technology. It goes to the side that uses their tools most effectively." A holographic display showed Earth weapons through the ages, from stone spears to nuclear missiles. "We kept everything that worked," Walker continued. "We never abandoned a tool just because we found a better one. Every weapon has its purpose." Vale, who had once laughed at Earth's weapons, now stood beside Walker as an ally. "The Dominion won't like this," he warned quietly. "They believe in overwhelming force through advanced technology. Your approach threatens their entire worldview." Walker smiled grimly. "Let them come. They'll learn the same lesson the pirates learned. Sometimes a rock thrown well beats a laser fired poorly." As the council session ended, alien representatives crowded around Walker and Wilson, eager to discuss military cooperation. Earth was no longer seen as a primitive newcomer, but as a valuable ally with unique insights. The galaxy was changing. Old assumptions about military power were being questioned, and somewhere in the darkness of space, the Dominion prepared for war, not realizing they were about to learn exactly why Earth's primitive weapons were now feared across the stars. The Dominion attacked at dawn. 300 warships dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's colonies on Titan. Their blood-red hulls gleamed in the dim sunlight, energy weapons already charged. The Dominion war leader stood on his command ship's bridge, his scaled face twisted in a confident smile. "These humans won't survive an attack of this size," he declared. "All ships, begin the assault. Show them what real military power looks like." But Earth wasn't defenseless. General Walker and Commander Vale had expected this attack. As soon as the Dominion ships appeared, Operation Thunderstorm began. The first surprise came when the Dominion's advanced sensors tried to lock onto Earth's defenses. Instead of military bases, they found thousands of decoys, simple metal and plastic structures that looked exactly like weapon emplacements to their scanners. "Find the real bases," the war leader roared. "They must be here somewhere." They were, but not where the Dominion expected. Deep under Titan's icy surface, in bunkers shielded by simple lead and steel, Earth's defenders waited. They had learned from every battle, combined the best of old and new technology. When the order came, they were ready. The surface of Titan erupted, not with energy weapons or plasma beams, but with thousands of simple rockets. Each rocket carried a payload that looked like trash to Dominion sensors: metal scraps, sand, even water. The Dominion ships ignored them, their shields programmed to stop only advanced weapons. That was their first mistake. In the vacuum of space, the rockets split open. Their trash payloads, accelerated to incredible speeds, became deadly weapons. Clouds of metal fragments tore through ship hulls. Streams of water, instantly freezing in the cold of space, became spears of ice that shattered sensor arrays. Impossible. The war leader watched as his mighty fleet was damaged by the simplest of weapons. Their technology is inferior. Their weapons are primitive. "No," Commander Vale's voice came over the common channel. They're just different, and that's what makes them dangerous. The second wave of Earth's defense revealed another surprise. Mixed in with the old weapons were new ones: energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and quantum disruptors that Earth had learned from its alien allies. The Dominion ships, their shields optimized to block one type of attack, couldn't handle both at once. "This is Earth Defense Command." General Walker's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Surrender now, or face the full power of humanity's arsenal, both old and new." The war leader's response was to launch his ground troops. Thousands of Dominion soldiers in advanced battle suits descended toward Titan's surface. They expected an easy victory over primitive humans. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that used everything from simple tripwires to antimatter bombs. Earth's soldiers appeared from hidden bunkers, wearing armor that combined steel plates with energy shields, firing weapons that ranged from standard bullets to plasma beams. In orbit, the battle turned into chaos. Dominion ships found their advanced targeting systems blinded by clouds of simple chaff, bits of metal that reflected their sensors back at them. Their energy shields, strained by constantly switching between different types of attacks, began to fail. Full retreat, the war leader finally ordered, but it was too late. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Dominion, had been defeated by an enemy that refused to fight the way he expected. As the surviving Dominion ships fled into hyperspace, they carried with them a message that would spread across the galaxy. Earth's primitive weapons weren't primitive at all. They were just the foundation of a military doctrine that used every tool available, old and new alike. The galaxy had learned its final lesson about underestimating humanity. 6 months after the Dominion's defeat, a new threat emerged from deep space. A swarm of robotic ships, leftovers from an ancient war, was heading toward populated systems. These machines had destroyed dozens of advanced alien fleets over the centuries. Now they approached Earth space. General Walker stood in the combined fleet's command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the incoming swarm. Beside him, Commander Vale and Technical Officer Wren watched with concern. "Our energy weapons don't affect them," Wren reported. "Their armor adapts to any advanced technology we use. That's why they've survived for so long." Walker smiled. "Then let's show them something they've never seen before. Something so old it's new again." Earth's response to the robotic swarm became legend across the galaxy. Instead of advanced warships, they sent what looked like primitive vessels, chunks of asteroids hollowed out and fitted with simple engines. The robot's sensors, designed to detect energy weapons and advanced technology, didn't even register them as threats. "All ships, execute Operation Stone Age," Walker commanded. The asteroid ships moved into position. When the robots came within range, the asteroids broke apart. But they weren't destroyed. They were designed to split. Each one released thousands of simple metal spears, accelerated by basic chemical rockets. The robot ships, their defenses tuned for energy weapons, were pierced by hundreds of metal spikes. Their adaptive armor, programmed to resist advanced attacks, couldn't handle such basic weapons. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Walker told the amazed alien observers. These robots spent centuries learning to fight advanced weapons. They never expected anyone to throw rocks at them. But humanity wasn't done teaching lessons. As the robots tried to adapt to the physical attacks, Earth unleashed its second wave. This time, modern warships fired a mix of energy beams and simple projectiles. The robots couldn't adapt to both at once. That's humanity's real strength, Vale realized, watching the battle. Not just using old weapons or new ones, but knowing when to use each. The robot swarm, undefeated for centuries, was destroyed in less than an hour. Alien observers couldn't believe what they'd seen. The most advanced hostile force known to the galaxy, defeated by a combination of space rocks and modern weapons. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council made a historic decision. Earth would lead a new combined fleet, teaching other races how to blend old and new technology. Advanced alien ships were retrofitted with simple backup weapons. Ancient combat techniques were taught alongside modern warfare. At the New Earth Defense Academy, alien students learned to fight with both energy rifles and simple bows. They discovered that sometimes a well-thrown stone could do what a laser couldn't. Every graduation ceremony included a demonstration of both ancient and modern weapons working together. The galaxy feared us because they didn't understand us, Walker told the first graduating class. Now they fear us because they do. We didn't just keep our old weapons, we learned to use them in new ways. That's humanity's gift to the stars. Later, walking through the Academy's halls, Walker and Vale stopped at a new display. It showed an ancient spear next to a modern plasma rifle, with a simple phrase beneath them. Everything has its purpose. You know what scares the galaxy most about humans now? Vale asked. Walker raised an eyebrow. What's that? Not that you kept your primitive weapons, but that you were smart enough to never stop using them. While we were busy advancing, you were busy learning. And that makes all the difference. As new threats emerged in the galaxy, Earth's reputation grew. Enemies learned to fear not just humanity's advanced technology, but their mastery of the basics. Because in the end, the most dangerous weapon wasn't the most advanced one. It was the one your enemy didn't expect you to use.